Alrighty, top of the cool of the morning to you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We're early June. We're prototype testing the latest creation from Mr. Maxflow, if you will. And we're getting some help from the brush. It's actually not too bad down here compared to what it's like up there. I had no idea there were toads like this down here, which, I mean, that tree's getting close to 3 feet DBH. The other guy, I think, was supposed to actually cut this to the draw here, so there's a little sliver of steepness and fun. I'm gonna try to take this one here and squeak it right down below that old growth thing right there, out in that hole. Try to, I don't even know, maybe help stick it on the hill with those oaks. Who knows what's going to happen. I thought about going out over there, but the way the ground lays in here, everything's going to have to kind of be coming this way, which I guess being down this far, it probably wouldn't matter. Essentially, I think we're going to be breaking stuff. There's already something going up through the pucker brush right there. Yeah, this is a fun little spot right here. Maybe out through there might be better because it might be a little bit easier to buck and we might not wipe out those oaks. Anyway, I just got down here. A lot of contemplating has to happen for a few minutes. Back on track. 400, this is probably a little underkill for this size of tree. We have a 30-inch Oregon lightweight bar. I've been swamping out some brush and chunks out of my way for an hour getting down into here. So can't say my chain's gonna be super awesome, but anyway, let us begin. Okay then, if we want to talk about what we ended up realizing out of this, they're wanting peelers because you can see how tight the grain is on that fir right there, and they're super nice peeling wood. At the same time, it slabs really bad too, so I've been trying to do some pretty low stumps. Anyway, 26, 25, 34, 23, 20, 21, and it's longer than a 40, but I took a 40-16 out of it down over the bank. That's what we ended up getting out of this one. I wasn't exactly positive if we had more than 40 feet. We're supposed to technically be bucking this bigger stuff up. I don't know if you can see, the ground is pretty steep in here. This little sliver is going to be fine. Did a little redwood clump augmentation out there as we saw that one running down right there. It actually looks pretty good right now. I noticed it looked a little thick from over there. That'd be by God's grace we were able to get that tree knocked down. That has nothing to do with me, of course. He's busy making me look like a better faller than I really am. And then we saw that little situation. I kind of was wondering what was going to happen in here. I seen that oak laying across in there, wondering if it was going to move it around, but we made it out of this jackpot situation, bucking job a little bit, so that's pretty sweet. The next few trees are kind of small in comparison. Those two bigger ones, they're spacing wise, they're too close, but they're too close to the creek as well, and that's a no cut zone. So my chain is a little hungry for this bigger wood with the bar fully buried. I've been cutting stuff more like this, like those two stumps, like this kind of tree right here, where they're like, maybe the big one's 16 inches on the stump. It's weird how different it is from the top to the bottom. In my other strip across the hill, trees were like 200 feet tall down in the bottom. They were 60 feet tall on the top, and that was a big one in the top. So I was using this saw while we do some prototype testing on this max flow system. This is an early prototype situation cover. It's had some alterations, but I'm testing the old version at the moment just because I can, I guess. Early June, maybe by September, we'll see something in production. For the standard 362 and 400, I don't know about that 400.1 or 1.0 or whatever in the heck they're calling it at this point. I don't know. It's got a little bit different look to it, so I guess we'll see. By God's grace, the filter element will work on that saw, and it will just be a cover alteration or something. That'd be super awesome for him. Well, thanks for watching this session as we're down here in the bottom, enjoying the cool of the morning. Have a blessed day wherever you might be on his green earth.